Hi, I'm Jess Romer, the administrative assistant here at City View Seminary, and we're going to get to know one of our professors, Dr. Mike Rasmussen. He is our one and only Greek and Hebrew professor here at City View Seminary. So Mike, we're going to get to know you a little bit today. Tell us a little bit about you, your ministry areas, and how you came to be at City View Seminary.
Well, I'm a PCA pastor. Back in the day, I've planted 2 PCA churches, and after my second church plant, after pastoring that church for 11 years, I followed an old dream that I had, and I went to Scotland to work on a PhD in Old Testament and to teach homiletics while I was there. And I took a course correction from church planter to professor there then in the early 2000s. And what I do now is I'm semi-retired, although my wife might disagree with that, and I work part-time for a ministry called Hope Russia, and it's a PCA affiliated seminary and church planting group in Russia, which obviously these days would be a difficult place to do ministry. And with that being part-time, I love to teach, and I teach over in Russia once or twice a year, but I love to teach. And this opportunity, since I live in Athens, Georgia, which is a little more than 90 minutes away from Augusta, I'd heard that y'all needed someone to teach Greek and Hebrew, and I pounced on the opportunity because I love doing it here in this seminary.
Well, we're grateful to have you. And you do teach classes at Metro Atlanta as well, do you
I
not?
do, because we live in Athens, so it's Tuesday nights in Atlanta and Thursday nights in Augusta, because Athens is kind of halfway in between. And we live there to be close to grandchildren. That's why we're there. Plus, we're both UGA grads too.
I didn't know that. That's excellent. And you have a little bit of, before you became a church planter, you also were a contractor, is that?
I have, yes, I've been a contractor, part of my checkered past, yes, painting and renovation, yeah. Now, though, most of the work I've done is on my own house, but yeah.
Not a problem, so we can give you a call.
Right.
I'm just kidding, just kidding. So, when you chose Greek and Hebrew, you said you taught homiletics first over in Scotland.
Right.
What drew you to teach the languages, the ancient languages?
Well, the reason why I taught homiletics in Scotland, because that's what they needed. But I've always been convinced that if we're called to teach the Bible, if we have a calling to, whether it's preaching or leading a small group or teaching a Sunday school class, whatever our calling is, the closer we can get to the original text, the better. And it kind of also fits my personality of a detail guy, kind of a little bit of a, at the age of 64, I've embraced my nerdhood, a little bit of the language nerd kind of a thing. And so I'm convinced that it fits me who I am, and it's also important for people to be able to set themselves free from the English versions and get to the original.
Excellent. I know I've benefited from your class. I've really enjoyed interacting with the Word and the way you teach the exegesis, just diving in, learning so many different ways to read God's Word, read it through not just the lens of the language that we've found and that we've been given, especially after the many translations that the Bible's gone through, from the Greek to Aramaic to the Latin to German, and the different translations. It's been very exciting that you bring a lot of the history and some of the extra biblical references. You brought those in, and that was just an exciting way to really dive deep and see the lens of where those people would have been during that time.
Yeah, every translation of a document from language A to language B is, to a certain extent, an interpretation of that document. So even though our English Bibles today, they're going directly to the Greek manuscripts and directly to the Hebrew, still those English versions are interpreting, because it's impossible to go from language 1 to language 2 without interpreting. So if our students can at least join in, they can understand the debate and the issues that are going on in what we call the secondary literature, which would be the theological dictionaries, commentaries, lexicons, and there's a whole world out there of scholarship that is dealing with what the original text actually says. And if our students are able to interact with that debate and with that discussion, it'll help the students become more self-aware in their interpretation, rather than perhaps being locked into an echo chamber where we lack self-awareness of the degree to which the tradition in the English version affects the way we understand it, so we can have a clearer view by looking at the original.
Yeah, thank you. That's been really exciting. I actually want to go back. I feel like I could go back and learn more as you teach.
Hey, we'll take you.
Anytime?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. So, what's the best advice somebody ever gave you, Mike?
Ever on any subject?
Ever on any subject?
That's kind of like a beauty pageant question. I really can't think. I really can't think of a clever answer to that. I heard the gospel from my dad when I was about this tall, so that to follow Jesus because he's the Messiah, but that's kind of the Sunday school answer, the expected Sunday school answer.
So not turn off the circuit breaker before you work on the outlet?
No.
No?
No.
Okay, well then at least tell us what your favorite Bible joke is.
Favorite Bible joke? Oh, they're so tacky, the Bible jokes, but like the things like, well, actually, I made this one up, that they had baseball they had hot dogs in the Old Testament times. Did you know that they had hot dogs in Old Testament times? No, I did not.
No.
Yes, because it says that Joshua rose early and mustered the troops. So, I mean, that is just bad.
I have not heard
I made that one up. I made it up.
But that's great.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, folks, you have a new joke. Mustard.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
I'm not so sure how excellent it is.
I think they're all cheesy. That's the point.
Yeah.
Okay. So besides the Bible, what's one or two other books you would want with you if you were stranded on a desert island?
Wow. I would want I'd want to have the Anchored Bible Dictionary, which is actually like 5 volumes, but if that can count as one. Boy, that's a hard question. And I would want to have N.T. Wright's whole set of Israel and the Question of God, which fills up about this much space on a shelf. And then I could be a somewhat happy camper lost on a desert island.
Okay, that's good to know. That's good to know. So N.T. Wright's, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's his main academic. N.T. Wright writes things for a popular audience and then for an academic audience. And his main work for an academic audience is that Israel and the Question of God series.
So it's an entire series.
It's a series.
Okay, excellent. Well, can you tell us, at your time here at City View, how have you been blessed?
Just interacting with the students and also becoming part of the community here with the leadership of First Press, Augusta, but mainly getting to know and being able to interact with the students. A lot of what I do for the seminary, for the Russia Seminary, is administrative. I do a lot of like traveling to preach as a guest preacher to represent the ministry, but a lot of what I do is alone in my office at home, and so this lets me get out and interact with other human beings every week, and getting to know the students and working with them and guiding them and becoming their friend has been my favorite part.
Well, that's excellent. I like that. We've enjoyed getting to know you too.
Well,
I know
that's
the
good.
students, when we meet for dinners or things before class, we talk about just what we've learned and who we've really enjoyed. I mean, we do enjoy all of them, but you always have your favorites. So tell me a little bit about parachurch ministry and how you think that seminary could help students who are involved in or looking to get involved in parachurch ministry or leading parachurch ministry.
Well, a lot of parachurch ministry is ministry of the word. I'm thinking of things like Crew, and I know there's ministry into the medical community here in Augusta. So if you have ministry of the word in whatever kind of a context it is, if you're speaking to a large group of students, 50 students that are meeting, say, on a Tuesday night at a university or college, or if you're designing a curriculum for a set of small groups that are meeting around the community, then having a quality and deep understanding of the Bible, since the Bible is our source book in the Christian faith, then I think seminary training, getting that training is essential.
That's excellent. You said you planted 2 churches.
I did.
What are some questions that you would advise future church planters to ask, or ask themselves, or ask their teams that are interviewing them as they prepare for that ministry?
Wow, I guess I would just encourage them to stick close to their mentors and their coaches. American culture has changed a lot since the days that I was planting the churches. So it's really a different world. And so having planted a church that began in the 80s and the one that began in the 90s, it's almost like a totally different context, like ministering on a different planet. So I would encourage the church planters to listen carefully and seek out as much mentor and coaching support as they possibly can, so they're not out there on their own.
That's helpful. I think that's helpful as we all feel called to different things, and just discerning that call and walking with wise people. So you have a beautiful, wonderful wife. I got to meet her. And what would she say is the best gift you ever gave her?
Wow, I don't know. I bought her an emerald ring and necklace. So I went way out on the edge of my pastor's economic capabilities, and got her at Bailey Banks and Biddle, which has gone out of business, but that was a really nice jewelry store. And so nice, it's large emerald with little diamonds around it. So maybe she'd say that.
Okay.
I don't know.
That's good. And our last question for the night: what would your kids say is your superpower?
That's a silly question. I don't know how to answer that. I don't know how to answer that. We maybe fixing things would be, if that could be a superpower.
Well, I think that could be a superpower.
Yeah, fixing stuff.
Well, thank you for your time here tonight.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Well, you definitely fixed at least my thought process in studying God's Word.
Good.
So
Good.
we appreciate it, and we look forward to many more years of doing ministry together.
Me too. Me too.
Thank you.